Knives Out is written and directed by Rian Johnson and stars a big cast of people, including Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Anya de Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, a huge cast of people. And this is a murder mystery whodunit movie. So I was originally going to go see this movie a week before its release. Fathom Events had a early week screening, and I planned on seeing it that day, but then the cold hit me, and I felt really sick that day. And then the week of its release, things were pretty busy due to it being Thanksgiving and Black Friday and all that. So I had to wait until now to review it. And I actually, upon recording this is a Tuesday, I saw the movie Sunday. And, stuff gets in the way. So now I'm finally reviewing this movie. And I'm really excited to review this movie, guys. As soon as I saw that first trailer, I was so excited to see this movie because there aren't really a lot of whodunit movies. At least nowadays, there aren't really much that are made by good directors. And Rian Johnson's one of my favorite directors working today. Say what you want about The Last Jedi. I'm done talking about that movie and defending it. I like the movie. I'm done defending it. But I haven't seen all of Rian Johnson's movies, but the ones that I've seen, I really like. And so a big cast, one of my favorite directors working today. Everything was coming together for me to love this movie, so let's talk about it. So this movie revolves around the death of a very famous author. His family came over for his 85th birthday, and the next morning he is found dead. And Daniel Craig and a few other investigators are sent to investigate the murder because it was ruled a suicide. But Daniel Craig has an eye out. He feels that foul play is involved, just like he said in the trailer. And from there on out, all the family members are now suspects in this very smartly written whodunit movie. I'm not kidding when I say that. This movie I thought was very smart in certain things that it does throughout the movie. I can't get into some of that stuff because it is very spoiler heavy and I want to avoid spoilers. It's kind of hard to review this movie without spoilers, but needless to say, this movie I thought was very well written and very smart on its execution. Now, this movie has a big cast of characters, and I'm not going to get into all of them because I'd be here for a while. If I mentioned all the characters that are in the movie, it'd be too long of a video. So, needless to say, everyone in this movie is phenomenal. Everyone in the movie does their job perfectly. Everyone is either likable or an asshole. Or a likable asshole. But I will talk about my standouts for the movie, the few that I think stole the entire show, and the first one being Daniel Craig. I love Daniel Craig. He's honestly one of my favorite actors, and not just because of James Bond, although he is my favorite James Bond. I've seen him in other stuff, and he's a very good actor. Not a lot of people talk about him as much. He has this southern accent throughout the movie, and it's very over the top, but it's over the top in all the right ways, if you catch my drift. Another one is surprisingly Anya de Armas. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. I'm very bad with names. She was very, very good in this movie. I've only seen her in Blade Runner 2049, and if I remember correctly, because I haven't seen the movie in a while, she didn't really have that big of a role, so I was very curious to see how she was in this movie. And without spoiling things, she is excellent in this movie. I'm very glad she's the new Bond girl. And I can't wait to see what she does next, because just one movie of seeing her do a lot more than what she did in Blade Runner, and I'm immediately hooked. I'm immediately ready to see what else she does for movies. And the last big standout for me is Chris Evans, who just oozes cool. Like, if you see interviews with Chris Evans, he is just the most likable, coolest guy you will ever meet. At least that's what the vibe I get from his interviews. And this must have been a very challenging role for him to play because as funny and likable as he is in real life, he's a dick in this movie. He is a straight up ass. And there's a scene with him pushing away dogs, and I'm pretty sure that that was painful for him to do because he is a big dog person. So shooing away dogs, that must have been hard for him to do. But he sells every minute he's on screen. He's funny. He's a jerk. You love him, but you hate him. Perfect. I'm glad to see Boy Scout Captain America go to asshole. On to my pros. Like I said earlier, I think this movie is very clever and very smart in its execution. For instance, again with no spoilers, as the movie's going on, you think you got everything figured out. You know, you're picking up puzzle pieces, you know, okay, this happened in this scene, and then this happened in that scene, and you're trying to fit it together. And once you think it's fitted together, something happens, obviously towards the end of the movie, where the big reveal happens, and then everything is just wiped away. Like, yes, that stuff happened, but what really happened in the way that you didn't think it was, if you catch my drift. And that's why I think this movie is smart, because it's playing with your expectations, because you think you've got it figured out, but you really don't. And you have to wait until the end, obviously, for the big reveal. And once the big reveal happens and you piece everything together, it's like, I got it. That's brilliant. I love that. And obviously the performances are another one of my favorite parts, particularly Daniel Craig. This is the second movie now where he's done kind of a Southern accent character. The other one was Logan Lucky, and he was excellent in that too. I want to see him do more roles like that, because over-the-top Southern is what I feel like he should do more when he's done with James Bond, because just thinking of the stuff that he says in the movie is just hilarious. I want to see the movie again, not just because it's a great movie, but because I love Daniel Craig so much in this film. As for cons, my only real issue with the movie is that some stuff that goes on throughout the movie is kind of cliched in a murder mystery type thing, you know. I can't say, but certain things are done where you think to yourself, okay, that's going to happen, and then it happens, and you're like, yep, I called that from a million miles away. But honestly, that doesn't really bother me once the film has concluded and you see the overall picture. It kind of makes that stuff not really necessary, you know? Some stuff you kind of need that cliched aspects to make your film complete, I guess? I don't know, it bothered me at first that it was kind of eye-rolling, like, oh, they're doing that, or they're doing that. But then once everything was complete, it didn't bother me. It was one of those movies that once it was done, it didn't bother me all that much. So I guess that doesn't really count as a negative. It does, but it doesn't. Overall, I loved Knives Out. It was exactly the type of movie that I wanted to see for a murder mystery. It was funny. It was suspenseful. The movie is shot very well, too. I know I don't talk that much about cinematography unless it deserves to be mentioned, but the way the camera moves and the way some shots are picked up, I thought was pretty cool. And the performances, again, I can't praise that stuff enough. Everything was just handled so well in this movie, and even the performances, I would recommend a lot of them for the Oscars. In fact, that's what I would say this whole movie is. This whole movie is Oscar worthy. I thought this movie was so great. I don't know how much of a rewatch value it's going to have once you see it and you see the big picture and the final reveal. I'm sure it'll be fine for a second viewing. It's entertaining enough to watch for a second viewing, but you're not going to have that aha, you know. There's, you know, those movies that once there's a big reveal, you have that aha moment, and you don't quite get that when you watch it a second time, though it's entertaining enough. I feel like it's going to be kind of like that. So if you've guys seen Knives Out, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section, and hopefully this week or this weekend, if I can try to fit it in, I will do a room tour. I know some of you have been asking for it, and I do want to do it, but again, like I said in my previous video, I got to get things tidied up. I do plan on doing it this week though, so look forward to that and more reviews very soon. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, then click right here, and I will see you guys next time.